Impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Over the past few years, we've had some very talented filmmakers and actors come out and express some criticisms about the MCU. These criticisms are typically met with a little bit of pushback from MCU fans, which is expected. But here's the thing, and I want everyone to pay very close attention to what I'm about to say. The validity of someone else's opinion is not determined by your inability to accept that opinion. And no movie, no matter who it's made by or who it's made for, is above criticism.
Damn right, that's the only way I work, Cap.
In a perfect world, you'll have different perspectives and opinions on a specific movie, and then you as a viewer are allowed to decide whether or not you want to see that movie or not. It's not up to the critic or anyone else to tell you what you want to hear. Now, there are critics and people who are receiving a paycheck who will tell people what they want to hear, and quite frankly, those people ruin film criticism for the rest of us.
Fuck me, right?
Making things easier for people and not challenging the way that they think does not make for a stronger society. I've always been of the opinion that you should question everything, because when you become complacent, you lose your humanity. You lose a little bit of your individuality. So Denis Villeneuve, the director of Dune, was interviewed this week. And depending on which article you read about this interview, you can take his comments in two very different directions.
Why?
All the major headlines read that the Dune director says that Marvel movies turn people into zombies. And while he did say something to that effect in the interview, I read another article that was headlined, "The Dune director discusses the limitations of the MCU." Now, just from those two headlines, you can tell which one is going to get more clicks, of course. The truth is that his comments and feelings probably lie somewhere in between those two headlines, and it's probably close to the second article, which doesn't get as much attention. But of course, everything needs to be turned into a culture war now.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Publications like IndieWire have cut some of his quotes short in order to build a narrative. They just want to get to the part where he says, perhaps these movies have turned us into zombies a bit. Meanwhile, if you read about the situation on Dark Horizons, the quotes read, "The problem today, well, if you're talking about Marvel, the thing is, all these films are made from the same mold. Some filmmakers can add a little color to it, but they're all cast in the same factory. It doesn't take anything away from the movies, but they are formatted." Now, when you get the whole picture and his thoughts and feelings are actually put into context, it doesn't exactly sound so bad, does it?
Well, that wasn't such a chore now, was it?
That's because this publication probably wanted to portray him in a respectful manner, rather than doing the typical media thing and trying to turn fanboys against these creators. And to make matters worse, I've seen YouTubers actually claim that this is Denis making excuses for when Dune flops, and basically portraying him as being jealous of Marvel's success.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
It should be noted that people did the same thing when Scorsese came out and talked about the MCU as well. I can assure everyone that these two men are making the movies that they want to make, and are very confident in their abilities to be storytellers. And the real reasons they bring up the topic of Marvel typically is, for one, they're usually baited into the conversation by the interviewer, and two, their real concern, like mine, is preserving the art form of filmmaking.
That makes sense.
Everyone got mad at the misrepresenting headline that Marvel movies turn people into zombies. But the reality is that there is some truth in that. The thing is that no one is saying that these movies shouldn't exist. And no one is saying that they aren't financially successful. Big budget blockbusters have always existed, and they've always made a lot of money. And the facts are that Marvel films do adhere to a certain formula, which includes the overuse of generic humor and CGI, post-credit scenes and Easter eggs, and very familiar story beats. And this formula has been proven to appeal to large amounts of people. I believe that the people who throw mild criticisms at this process are simply concerned with preserving their own creative freedom. When these movies who adhere to this formula dominate the movie market, it seems to make it more difficult for the consumer to accept the idea of variety.
I'm having trouble.
Everywhere you look on social media and in comment sections, all you see are people saying, just do it like Marvel. So you have large groups of people consuming uncontrollably and asking for the same thing over and over and over again. Is the zombie analogy making a little bit more sense now? To be clear, I do not fault anyone for enjoying these movies. I'm glad you enjoy them. Hell, I even enjoyed them at one time. But it's just gotten a bit too repetitive and formulaic for me, as well as a lot of other people. And that's why people are starting to speak up and point these things out, in hopes of opening people's minds just a little bit to more exciting possibilities.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
It's no secret that Hollywood has a serious originality problem right now. I mean, what dominates the market? Superhero movies, remakes, reboots, reimaginings. There was a time when I went to the movies and I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. It was a unique experience, good or bad, every time I sat down in those theater seats. Now when I go to see movies, I usually have a good idea of what they're all about before I even watch them.
Why do these things always happen to me?
And the big reason for that is I've seen it all before. Trends in the film industry usually come and go in waves. Certain types of films become popular and then fade out when people start to lose interest in them. While it appears that hasn't happened yet for the superhero genre, I strongly believe it's time for us to move into the next phase. And I'm not talking about the next phase of the MCU. At this point, someone needs to take the reins and point this horse and carriage in a new direction. And that starts with filmmakers, as well as consumers, expressing their true feelings about something without fear of being canceled. The truth is that the only person who can cancel your free think is you. And if you demand better of these studios, they will have to produce a better product. So next time people want to get upset about someone who has an opinion about an MCU movie, or any movie for that matter, try taking your feelings out of it, take a step back, and try to listen to a different perspective, because a lot of times it will be very revealing to you.
You can't handle the truth!
So let me know what you thought about all this in the comments down below. As always, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications, and I'll see you next time right here on Real Shift. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Y'all be cool. Shut up.